see dope people. Everybody, it's Hayden Green, your host for Dope People, and we are back with another episode. And I have another person that I want you to know. And listen, you may be saying, well, what's a dope person or what's dope? Well, dope is a term that is an old throwback term. It means somebody who's kind of interesting, who has done something amazing. And I know a bunch of dope people, and I want you to get to know a bunch of dope people. And today I'm wearing my I Am a Dope Trini Dad shirt because today's guest has created an organization that is dedicated to dads. And I think it's really dope that what he's been doing. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one and only Derek Phillips. Derek, how you doing, brother?
Oh, Hayden, I'm doing great, man. Thank you for inviting me here today.
No, thank you for your time. I know you are a busy person, so we're gonna jump right into it. So I normally ask my guest Derek how they understand the term dope, and the way we do that is like I want you to tell me who's the dopest person that you know or have met, and it could be like a one time or somebody that you know really well. So who's the dopest person you know?
Boy, I was thinking about that question, and I guess for me, when I think of the term the dopest person, for me, it's someone who really I consider to be cool, but also someone who's really had a huge influence on me, where this person has just had a certain style and flow. And that was my nephew, believe it or not.
Okay,
It's my nephew who was actually 4 months older than me. So he
all
was
right.
he was kind of like, he was out there in the streets, was running around doing that stuff in the streets, but changed his life around, stopped doing that stuff. You know, retired from Con Edison, got married, his daughter went to college, but he was a person that always, I always looked up to and admired. He would always keep me kind of like abreast of what was happening in the streets because I was kind of like the corny dude. Yo, D, this is what's happening here. This is what's here. And he kind of like had a lot of rep and credibility on the street. So when I would be around him, he'd be like, yo, this is my uncle. And people are like, oh, that's your uncle. That's your uncle. And I got that sort of credibility. But he was just
He
someone
gave you
who was
street cred,
really poised. Yeah, he gave me that street cred, but he was
right?
really poised. But he was also just down to earth and was very honest and was very family centered. Didn't say a lot, but he just led with just his actions. So
And
that's why I looked at him and just he was like that dope person. It's like, wow, that's my nephew.
that is, and it's wonderful to really think about it in that because some people, I've seen situations where people get caught up and it's like, listen, I'm your nephew. I know I'm younger than you, or older than you, but like I'm your nephew. You're supposed to take care of me, that kind of thing. Or pull the other rank where you're the uncle and it's like you're not gonna tell me what to do. I'm the uncle, right? Um, but I think that's always, and there's always this whole conversation about like street smarts versus book smarts, and like it's interesting because my mom, I grew up in Trinidad, but my mom was still up here in the States for about 10 years, and my mom would always be like, "Hey, what's the word on the streets? Like how's things going in Trinidad?" And I'm like, man, listen, I got no street cred. I don't know nothing about that, right? Like I'll tell you what's going on in trigonometry.
It's like we need that street cred. He had that swag, and it's like, all right, he gave me that little street credibility. Like, yo, that's my uncle. All right,
Yeah,
Uncle D. All right, Uncle D.
I love that. I love that. And I love that he introduced you as his uncle, right? Because like we're contemporaries, you're a couple of months apart. I
Yeah,
love
and he
that.
was older. He was 4 months older.
Yep, yep, yep. Well, Derek, thank you for sharing that with us. But I want to take some time to tell you why I think that you're dope. So, Derek, you and I came into contact with each other because you are the CEO of Real Dads Network, and I'm renaming your organization for you, Real Dads Network, and so when we came into contact, it was through poetry. We were doing spoken word stuff, and your organization has sponsored a number of different things. And then you brought me on to do some photography out at Prospect Park. And so as I started to get to know you, one of the things that I found really dope and what really interesting is number one, Real Dads Network has always said is that we want to big up dads, but not at the detriment of moms, right? Like we are not an anti-mom organization, and I thought that that was really important. But I also found it really interesting and dope that you spent a lot of time in different aspects, right? Like, so, like I said, we interacted on spoken word. Now, the things that you're doing with men's health. You now have a new space out in Harlem, but you also work with some of the hip hop greats. And so I saw all of the different ways that you envision a dad should have, all these different identities that dad should have, and really was unabashed about showing the whole realm, right? There was even a voter campaign, Real Dads Vote
Oh,
campaign,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so the organization is not just about, oh, health. It's about all the or arts or fatherhood in particular. It's about all the ways that dads show up, and I think that you have spent an inordinate amount of time really showing the whole sphere of what a dad could be, and I think that that's really dope. And it's one of the reasons that anytime you call, I'm like, yep, I'm there. If I can be there, I'll be there. I the last time that we had a spoken word thing, and it was about colon health or colon cancer. Um, and I got that call, and it was like, I need you to write a piece about. Well, KO called and said, I need you to write a piece about colon cancer. I was like, it's for the Real Dads Network, so I'll do it, but I have no idea what I'm doing. It turned out great, I understood that there is a level of dedication about showcasing all the different ways that dads show up that I think is really dope.
And I really appreciate it. And I think it's important, that we do show, and that's one of the things that I've been very focused on is changing that narrative as it comes to Black fathers. And because a lot of times we don't get the credit. And even with Real Dads Network started in 2004. So Real Dads Network derived from this documentary that I did called Real Dads, Black Men and Fatherhood, which was the first documentary ever done that focused on positive Black fathers, and that had commentary
Mm,
by Ozzie Davis, and that was done in 2000. So, and that was 25 years ago. So
25 years ago, yeah.
it's 25 years ago. So, and that was the whole thing, is changing that narrative. Because when we talk about fathers, it's always they're deadbeat, they're absent, they're not involved. And it's like, if you want to really make change, you can't focus on negativity and expect positive results. So we focus on all the good things that are happening with dads and how dads are really showing up. And I like the way you put it as well, the way they're constantly showing up. And we want to constantly show that, because we know if we continue to push that out there in terms of what they're doing, as opposed to what they're not doing, that's going to have more of an impact in terms
Yeah,
of changing
yeah,
lives and changing communities and changing society. So that's what we're really adamant about, showing positivity. I live by law of attraction. What you put out, you get back. What you focus on will expand. So if you
yeah,
focus on negativity, that's what you're going to get. So we
yeah,
focus on positive stuff. And what has happened for us as an organization is things have begun to just grow, because with positivity, good things are going to happen. So, and I think the people we've come into contact with, you, KO, and all the other people, we're just feeding off of each other's positive energy.
yeah. Yeah, and you can feel it in the room whenever there's a Real Dads event, and we'll put up some information right here about how to get in contact with Real Dads Network. But it's a really positive organization, really positive kind of environment, and I enjoy it every single time. I look forward to this year's fatherhood poetry reading. I know that's going to happen pretty soon. So I thank you for putting that out there. But right now, we are going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about what dope thing you're doing in particular. Like, and it might be something you've done one time or something that you do all over and over again. But I'm really anxious to hear what dope thing you are about here in this world. So we will be back in a few minutes with Real Dad's Derek Phillips. We'll be right back. I see dope people. And we're back again. It is Brooklyn's favorite polymath, Hayden Green, and I am here with Derek Phillips, the CEO of Real Dads Network. I got my dope Trinidad shirt on, and Derek, thank you so much. And I know that you and I have a lot of things in common too. We're both members of the MPHC, and you have two girls, right?
Two girls.
Yes, and I also have two girls. So and yours are a little bit further on than mine. So I look to you for it's like, all right, that's the path that I'm eventually going to roll down the road. So but Derek, you tell me. I want to hear from you. What dope thing you are doing? And again, like I said, it could be that one thing. Like I once had a conversation, a heart to heart with a young man who was a young father, or it could be a long, program that you've been working on for years and months or whatever. But what dope thing do you do?
Boy, when I think of just in terms of a dope thing, something when I think of dope, just something I'm really proud and excited about. And that was this. We had a young man that reached out to us last year. This young man reached out to me and he sent me an email saying, I'm doing this thing about poetry, fatherhood, and I would like for you to be a part of it. And he had saw us on the news on Channel 11, so he had reached out. And he says, and I reached out, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll come. He says, but there's one catch to it. You have to come visit me. I'm in Sing Sing.
Oh, okay,
Because you have to be put on record. So I went to visit him, and then I went to come saw his piece that he did Beyond the Block. He did a whole piece about fatherhood. And the reason why I entertained it, because here it is, this young man was in prison,
yeah.
and he's talking about fatherhood. And he was in prison since he was 18, and he was 34, and he had a 5-year-old.
Oh, okay. That math ain't mathing. Help me out there.
He got married while he was in prison.
Okay. I guess conjugal visits and stuff like
Yeah, he
that.
got married while he was
Okay.
in prison. So and he had a 5-year-old. So he's doing this piece about his son and fatherhood, and he's in prison. So I went to visit him, and I saw the piece. It was a nice piece he did, and Elo Black was actually there as well visiting.
Okay.
So Elo Black was there as well. And then he had another play coming up, 12 Angry Men. I went to visit him, see that as well. So I went to see him like maybe 3 or 4 times after that. And the thing is that he got out last March. And when he came out of prison, they dropped him off at the train station on the van. He jumped out of their van and into my car.
Oh wow. That's dope. That's really dope.
Out of their van into my car. And he's been with us for the last year. And the dopest thing is that this young man has been in prison while he was in prison, and he's talking to other people about how to better their lives. And when he came home, he has not changed. So he's been with Real Dads Network ever since. And the dope thing is that it's really what he is doing, the energy that he brings.
Yeah.
He is so, and that's why it's like it's dope the fact that we were able to present this young man with this opportunity, with this space that he says he feels a part of. And I just got off the phone with him today. He's like, okay, I'm at the Fatherhood Center now. I'm straightening up. I'm cleaning up. So and he's been a blessing to us. So the dope thing is this, the fact that we're able to present this space where people feel as though they have a place to go. And the crazy thing is that we did an award ceremony last June, and I had him hand out one of the awards.
Mm-hmm.
So he's reading this award for this lady, Monica Morales. She's from Channel 11. So he's reading the award. And he's saying, Monica, it was because of your piece when I was in prison that I saw.
Yeah.
And that's what connected me to Real Dads Network. So she's just started bawling because she's like, wow. And he's reading her the piece for the award. So I think it's dope that, and it was me as well as another one, Puma, who was also there for him. And we, as a network, we've just been there for him as well as other fathers that just call. And I think when I tell people in terms of Real Dads Network, we just really are that network where what's dope about what we do is that we don't just, we don't have the biggest followers online. We don't have all that, but what we do have is just the impact, and people know that, wow, I can reach out to them, and actually someone will talk to me and they will actually guide me through this process.
And you mentioned it earlier, right? Like light attracts light, right? And so those people who need that second chance, or who are
Yeah.
doing things in the midst of craziness in their life, they find you because those are the people who are like, I need positive things in my life, and I need to be around positive people, and that's how they stay connected. And that's an amazing story, and I love that. I love the fact that there is a tangible way that you can see what you have been doing with Real Dads affecting the rest of the world, whatever corner of it that you work in. I love that.
And thank you. And that's what he's been a blessing for us, because we need just to show. And then when we talk about those stories, those are the stories. Those are the things that are really, it's, and we go by Real Dads Network, making connections one dad at a time. So it's not about the numbers. It's just really about, if you just save and help one father, and you've made a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me quickly about the Fatherhood Center. That's new.
Wow, the Fatherhood Center, that we opened the Fatherhood Center in July, but we're going to have our grand opening this June. And that has really been a blessing for us, because I think in all the work that we've done, it's one thing where it's like, you can say we're online, you can come to our Real Dads Club meeting. We have club meetings every Thursday. We've been having that every Thursday. We have not missed a Thursday in 5 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
We have
That's
not missed
consistent.
a Thursday in 5 years. But it's good to have that. But it's also good to have a space where people can come and say that this is our space. One of the challenges we've known when it comes to fathers is that I need help, but where do I go?
Correct.
So now, there is a place where it says fatherhood. It says Fatherhood and Family Center. And a lot of times when people go into places, especially fathers, it'll say family. But we know, based on the research and based on the actions, that the word family in terms of social services and all these other agencies really mean mother.
Mm-hmm.
So it really means mothers. It doesn't mean
Yep.
fathers. So
Yep.
they have WIC, women, infant, and children. They don't have FIC,
Right.
fathers. And my
Right.
dad says this all the time. They don't have FIC. So we really want to be intentional. And one of the things that we know when it comes to men are very particular, and they need to be in places where they feel this is real and it's for me. So with the center, it is for fathers, and fathers know this is for them. We're not a city agency. We're not asking you for social security cards, or we're not asking you for your information. The only thing that we ask is that when you come in here, that you're open and honest, and that you just give back in any way that you can, whether it's your story or just say, I'm going to show up at an event because I know it's important to help other people.
Yeah. And I think that that's important, because one of the things when I first became a father, there were a ton of what to expect when you're pregnant, what to expect when you are a mother, what to, mothering books, but there are very few fatherhood books. Number one. Number two, there's almost no black fatherhood books, right? Like, and and that's a void that I oftentimes think about. Maybe it's time for me to fill. I have a book of advice to my daughters that kind of is a fatherhood book, but it's really advice to my daughters. Um, but I one of the things that I've always found is that with parents, there are times where you think, "Oh my God, my kid is the only kid that is doing this weird thing," and then you get into a space and somebody says, "My kid did blah blah blah," and you go, "Oh my God, that's my kid." And what I'm saying right now, every parent can identify with. Why is this important for Black fathers? Black fathers don't talk to each other about that
Yeah.
stuff, right? We've been acculturated to, just be breadwinners. We've been acculturated to be strong. We've been acculturated to not admit when there is a problem. And also, that also means not admit where you feel like you may not have done the greatest job as a father, and may need help, advice, some strength around that. And so you never ask that, and you don't talk about that. But when there is a space where you can come and be vulnerable and say, "Look, my kid is eating this weird thing, and I don't, and maybe it's something I did. Maybe I should stop them. Maybe I should let them. I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss in this fatherhood journey, and I need help." And Black fathers tend not to do that. And I love that there is a space that people can come and feel vulnerable and ask those questions. And even if they don't ask that question, maybe they hear somebody talking about it and be
You
like,
get
"Whoa,
someone else. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I I didn't want to ask, but I'm glad somebody talked about it.
That's and that's the whole thing. And you brought up the key word, especially when we talk about men, is the whole thing of being vulnerable, because we all have to wear this mask as men, and then it's like sometimes that mask becomes who we are every day, and we need spaces where we can go and we can take off the mask and we can say, you know what, I need help. And
Yeah.
yet, when you say that and you're sort of saying, I need some guidance, it's not looked upon as a sign of weakness, but it's looked upon as a sign of strength. Because we
Yes.
all know, in terms of based on where we are, sometimes we got to be strong all the time. Because, if I'm soft, I can be taken over. Somebody convict me. So we always
Yeah.
have to wear
Yeah.
this mask. So it's like we got to find spaces where we can be safe, where we all actually go to that space for energy. Here it is. I'm letting go of my guards. I'm putting down my guards. I'm letting my emotions out. And yet these brothers are filling me up. They're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
knocking me down. They're building me up. They're not knocking me down.
Yeah.
So you leave
That,
there like, wow, I done cried. I done did everything. And here it is. I leave there and I'm feeling strong. As opposed to when I cried and somebody's like, yo, he's soft. We're going to get
we're gonna get them. Yeah. No, absolutely. That's real talk. Real talk. Well, Derek, thank you so much for that. And we end each show with a dope moment in history or a dope person in history. I try to stump my guest every now and again. So I'm gonna give you a scenario, and it's a bit of a stretch. I will admit it's a bit of a stretch. It's about music, right? And you have to think that the theme of fatherhood is kind of where I'm going with this. There's a particular artist who has 91 Billboard ranking Billboard ranking songs, but has never had a number one. And he holds the record for having the most songs on Billboard's chart without having a number one song. You have a guess who that might be?
Man,
Think
who
farther.
father 91? I know it's not Stevie Wonder, because that would be
No,
one.
he's got plenty of number ones.
So it wouldn't be, because in terms of just who would have all those songs as a father? Eric Benet?
Nope. Good choice, but not nearly as much of a record as this person I'm talking about. I'll let you off the hook. It is the Godfather of
James?
soul,
No,
James Brown.
no.
James Brown has 91 Billboard charting hits, but has never had a number one.
That sounds insane.
It does. He's had number one R&B chart hits, right?
Right.
But he's never had a top 100. He has never had a number one.
Wow. When you think of
Crazy,
James
right?
Brown, it's not. And James Brown, it's when you think of James Brown, you don't even you think of him as just an icon that crosses all genres. So it's not like
Yep,
he's just a black artist. It's James Brown, and everybody knows James Brown.
correct. But never had a Billboard top one. Had never had a Billboard topping hit. It's crazy. It's crazy. But
Wow.
it also talks about that era, right? Like you have to think about that era. And James Brown, if for nothing else, was a maverick. And when you make songs like say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Uh, Back then, Billboard wasn't probably going to be voting you number one, but it was supposed to be about sales. But those times were different.
That's amazing though, because it's he's an American icon.
Yeah, the American icon. Yeah. Well, Derek, thank you so much for coming on board. If people are looking for you, where can they find you?
You can go social media is just Real Dads Network. So Instagram, Facebook, our website is realdadsnetwork.org.
Excellent, excellent. And we will make sure that people get there. And where is the Fatherhood Center?
Oh, the Father Center's on 1445 Madison Avenue. So that's right on the corner of 99th Street in Madison.
Okay, excellent. All right. And so, for those of you who are watching this, please like, save, subscribe, do all the things. Make sure you share this with a friend so that more people can know about the Real Dads Network and the work that Derek is doing. And if you know somebody that needs to be on the show, please get me in contact with them, and we will make sure that that I interview them. And until then, we will be back next week with another dope person. And Derek, thank you so much for your time. And
Thank
for
you.
everybody
Thank you.
and for everybody else, go forth and be dope.